Hello, welcome to the October 3rd Horizen bi-weekly update. This is Rolf Versluis, your host, and running the technical stuff here today. Um, if there's any sound issues or concerns during the broadcast, best way to make a comment on that. And we're talking about the sound that's going out to the YouTube live stream, not internal on Discord, but make a comment on the Discord. And I'm going to introduce our main host for today, Rob Viglione. Rob, all you.
Thank you, Rolf. Welcome, Horizen community. Thank you for joining us today on our most current biweekly update. So we've got some good stuff as usual to cover this period. So we'll start off with the community highlights as usual, and then I'll pass it off to Rowan to give you a very cool business development update. And then we'll dive right into the project. So we'll recap projects that have been complete. We have some new stuff that was just completed. And then we'll talk about the ongoing projects and estimates to complete on the ongoing ones with progress on those that we've been focusing on just this last 2-week period. And then I'll hand it off to Alan, DevMan, to give the secure and supernode system updates. And then we'll pass off to the marketing team, to Zenchik or Rosario. And then we'll get into the regional activity, and you'll hear what all of the cool country and regional activities that have been ongoing, and tons of meetups and a lot of really good stuff going on. So let's dive right into the community member highlights. So we have a few community members here. We have so Al Southard, thank you for the vigilant bug reporting. So it was good to always make sure that any of our products, services, or anything like that, if there are any issues, please, guys, we should probably think about a formal bug bounty program. But this one, Al, thank you for helping us catch a bug with the faucet. So that's always really good. The faucet is actually one of the most popular new user kind of destinations for people who are interested in the cryptocurrency and new to it, want to check it out, get it a little bit. So making sure that the site is running well and functioning properly is really important. And Kieran, so Dat Draghi, this is a special thank you. You're always awesome on Telegram in particular. So Kieran's just been a prolific Telegram community supporter and admin for us, and just doing a great job keeping the conversation going and just supporting people nonstop who have any number of issues. So thank you so much for that. It's always a pleasure to have you on there. And, I know that Telegram's always in good hands. So, and we also have one, not a cool photo here listed, but Sander Osabar. Thank you very much for reporting actually Facebook impersonators. So as the project becomes more popular, we're starting to see more impersonators and projects that are, essentially trying to mimic what we're doing, but sometimes the mimicking is actually not done in a very ethical way. So anytime we catch projects that are trying to impersonate us or pretend that they are something that they're not, it's always important to report that, and then we take, if necessary, appropriate legal actions. So thank you for that, for the Facebook impersonation report. Okay, so why don't I just hand off to Rowan, if you're available to go over the big business development announcement for this biweekly.
Of course, no problem at all. Thank you very much, Rob. So I'm pretty excited about this one. Today's announcement is probably our biggest step forward towards real global accessibility since we listed on Binance, which was back in May. So the reason I say that is that this integration really helps to solve one of the core fundamental issues that new users and community members face when they try and jump into the ecosystem. And that is, where can they buy Zen? So the new answer to this question is that you can now buy Zen in over 21,000 retail locations across Australia, Canada, Cyprus, Greece, and Romania. And this is going to be possible in 2 different ways. So I'm going to explain each way just briefly. So there's first and foremost, Netcoins is the partner, and they're a Canadian company. So they have the majority of their locations currently in their own region in Canada, and around about 7,000 of what they call a virtual ATM. Now, the virtual ATM basically allows you to enter one of the 7,000 stores in Canada with a Zen wallet, hand over either cash, credit, or debit cards, and then leave that store with Zen in your wallet. So you're buying it properly over the counter in many different merchant locations. Now, the global option out with Canada, there are some in Canada as well, is to buy with a kind of voucher-based system, which some of you guys may have heard of before. So there's one extra step in that process. What happens is you walk into one of the merchants that sell a specific type of voucher that will create a guide so you can figure out where to find them. You buy a voucher, again, with either cash, credit, or debit cards. You then take that voucher, you jump on to gonetcoins.com, either on your mobile, or you can do it on your laptop or PC when you get back to your home or office. And you then redeem your voucher for one of 7 different cryptocurrencies, of which obviously Zen is one of them. So as if that wasn't cool enough, there's a couple other services they also offer. They have a two-way over-the-counter, so an OTC trading service for people that are residency in Canada. So that allows you to buy or sell Zen. And then they also have a kind of a selfish one-way OTC service worldwide. They're working very hard on integrating the ability to buy, but at the moment, they're only allowing you to sell. So if you have an Australian dollar, a US dollar, or a euro account, you can sell Zen to Netcoins on their OTC service. And like I say, soon you'll also to buy. And the last thing we need to talk about is that they have 21,000 locations at the moment. But the reason that I'm really, really excited about this integration is that they're adding over 130,000 new locations in the coming weeks. Among those locations are a very large number throughout Europe, a pretty huge amount in the UK, and a significant number of stores across many different states in the USA. So all in all, this gives us a much easier and sort of lower barrier to entry, and hopefully means that next time you're telling a friend or a family member about Zen, you can point them straight towards somewhere local where they can buy some. That's it from me for today. So back to you, Rob.
Love it. Thank you, Rowan. I mean, this is such a big deal because, we started the year off by talking about this whole radical usability thing and actually getting Zen out there into the world and make it usable for people. Now, of course, this entails wallets and entails point of sale, integrations and all this stuff. But, anything that we can do to step in that direction, and especially such a great leap forward like this, is just awesome. So, this is a really cool update. But now let's switch back to the operations for the organization here, and we'll talk about our completed projects. So we'll go through the project list as usual, but we'll start off by adding, and really happy to announce that we've added a major project to our completed stack. So we've finally wrapped up the 51% attack mitigation. I mean, well, the code has been done for a while. It was undergoing testing for months, and now it's actually live on mainnet. So this is a really big deal for the project, as it significantly strengthens the network security. So actually, Alberto and I just did a video production yesterday where we went through the technical details and some of the penalty mechanics and equations and so forth, and I calculate it on a whiteboard. And we're going to be editing this video and having it released to the community over the coming week. So you'll be able to see us discuss in some sufficient detail here. But if you have any other questions about the code implementation here, the modification that we did to the longest chain rule, which comes from the Bitcoin Satoshi Nakamoto consensus, please, you can refer to our white paper. We have a ton of other documentation, blog articles, or just ask us as a team. But it's a really big step forward, I think, for our project for sure, but I hope for the industry, because the 51% attacks, this idea of being able to concentrate hash power to be able to hijack a network and then force in kind of fraudulent spends is just unacceptable. We've been operating now as an industry for about 10 years, and it's time that we just kill this threat, or at least make it exponentially more difficult to pull off or costly. And that's what we did. So really happy that in this current software release that we have for our core software, we're able to roll in after just 3 months after our 51% attack, this mitigation code. So kudos to the team, to Alberto, to Chronic, to everyone, to Pierre, who focused so much effort in such a short period of time to bring this big innovation to market. Okay, so let's move on to the active projects. We have 2 slides here. So we have now, as usual, the updates are in blue. So we're going to focus on the blue highlighted projects, and the other ones, there's no status report as of the last 2 weeks. Okay, so side chains now. Actually, when Alberto and I did a video production yesterday, we did 2 videos. One was on the 51% implementation or mitigation plan or code. And the second one was actually, we did a deep dive on the sidechain model and talking in a little bit of detail about how the architecture is designed and how the implementation will be done. So really happy to announce we've actually started work on the SDK, so the software developer kit for the actual implementation here. And so we've been talking about this sidechain white paper. Actually, the white paper has been done for a while now, for weeks, but it's been going through an editorial process. And actually, we have a slight modification to it that we're going to be tweaking over in terms of segmenting the paper, and we're going to be ideally releasing it. I'm hoping this week. I know we've been talking about this for a little while, but it's a very nice kind of architectural overview and then discussion about each of the implementation elements for the model and what makes it unique, and really what I think is the first decentralized sidechain model to hit the market. One in which you don't have to rely on any centralized certifier agent on the network. Some entity that you have to trust to be able to adjudicate transactions. This is done in kind of typical like Nakamoto fashion, where we have a truly distributed network and decentralized system the way it operates. So really excited for this project. We're calling it 65% complete here. We'll be releasing the white paper shortly. And we also will be releasing a video about, a whiteboard session video where we actually go into some of the details of how it's going to be operating. The other thing that we've made some progress on is the off-chain challenge mechanism. And this was all designed to optimize the node system performance by rethinking about how we do challenges and taking them off-chain versus flooding the network with all of these on-chain challenges to verify your hardware requirements. So we're booking this project now as 85% complete. And we're able to actually obtain shielded transactions, verify that they work properly with the new technique. And we're currently working on the Node.js tracker and server part of the system. So making steady progress here and hoping to have this innovation completed in short order.
Rob,
Okay,
can I just jump in here real quick? I just wanted to ask and help clarify something. So there's 2 things that we're doing with the secure node off-chain challenge. And tell me if I've got it wrong here. One of them is we're going to take the challenge off-chain so we can verify that the secure and super nodes are running the right size hardware that we specify without putting all those challenges on the main chain. That's one aspect of it. And then the second aspect of getting node tracking and payment system onto the side chains, similar to what we're doing with the Treasury. Is that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for clarifying or expanding on that. That's such an important point. Is all of this work is designed to push the entire system on chain, or I should say on a side chain. So absolutely, Ross. Thanks for that.
Cool.
Yeah. And then so on the next slide, the transaction weight and block weight project that we have ongoing, we're 85% complete on it now. So the code we think is done and it's undergoing code review. So what this is currently in the code, there's a sort of naive, mechanism that is often used in the whole get block template for when you're packaging transactions into blocks and then mining them. What's happened is, a lot of miners have been actually truncating the blocks to a certain maximum number of transactions, but this function is actually going to make the process more refined, in that we'll actually have a kind of a detailed number of transaction inputs that can go into a block. So, actually looking at inputs and the size of the inputs and making sure that we have a more sophisticated or refined way to actually package blocks together. So it's one of these tweaks that is really important for network efficiency, and will make just everything work much smoother. And this goes back to the problem that we started to solve after actually when we were listed on Binance and we had just a flood of transactions on the network with many inputs. So what exchanges often do is they sweep, many small UTXOs and bundle them into a bigger transaction. And these transactions are quite large in size. So to actually, what a lot of, or some people were doing on the network and packaging blocks was actually not accepting these and actually triaging these many input blocks or many input transactions and not including them in blocks. So this is some behavior that we want to avoid and do it in an intelligent way that's not actually imposing a burden on miners. So this is a really nice efficiency gain to our network. Really happy about it. Now, the proposal portal, this is something that's really important to us, and being able to have a nice open system for community members or potential people that want to do work to improve the network or grow the system in any way that they think might be important, to be able to have a nice user interface that's standardized, and they could submit their work proposals to the community or to the team, and the team could review and the community can comment on to actually try to get more community involvement. So it's really important to us. We have we have a great team, and we're operating, I think, quite efficiently, and we're always trying to get better, and we're executing so rapidly on so many things. But really, I think we can expand our productivity as a project and make many more steps forward if we get the community more involved. So this proposal portal is a really important part of that. And right now we have it 90% complete. It's actually undergoing acceptance testing right now. So the portal's done. It looks great. It seems to operate very nicely. And right now we're just doing some final acceptance testing before we actually make that public. Now, the flagship wallet, this is another huge step forward for the project. It's 90% complete. We're actually doing more internal testing. We keep going back and forth between the product team and the engineering team to go through the final set of tweaks that they want to see before we release it to market. So that's going to be a really exciting thing. Now, for those that haven't been following so far, this new wallet that we have is going to be both a full node and a light client. It's going to be desktop, and it's going to be a web wallet. So this is a really, really important step forward for the project, where in everything that we do, we want to be as usable as possible, and we want all of our graphical user interfaces, all of our products to just be really clean, sleek, simple, and function very well. So really happy about that project as well. Now, Gustavo's team on the product side has been working on something called Horizen Academy. Now, Horizen Academy, I think this is the first time that we're actually presenting it to you guys in the community, but it's basically a whole integrated blockchain and Horizen-specific learning platform. But it goes beyond just Horizen, I should say. It's actually a blockchain educational platform, but also a lot of specific Horizen content on there, where we want to create just an integrated platform with just a lot of educational material that covers basically everything that you can want to know about blockchain technology, usability, wallets, products, ecosystem, and all this stuff. So this is another really cool project that I think is going to enhance the way users interact with the project, the ecosystem, and hopefully just provide a lot of useful information for people. So it's ongoing right now. The big challenge is we have some excellent content writers, and Jonas, I'll give you a shout out here. I keep hearing just amazing things about your technical writing abilities. So thank you for contributing. We have a whole bunch of people contributing to creating technical documentation and usability documentation to really package this all together into a nice, sleek Horizen Academy. Now, on the faucet side, we say here we're redesigning the faucet. We're really redesigning the interface and really the web page. So we're 10% into this. It's only 10%, but it's it's a website redesign, which should make the faucet just easier to use and a little bit more modern and intuitive. Okay, so the big news of the last 2 weeks now is the huge software upgrade that we have here. So Zen 2.0.15 is now released. It's on our GitHub repository, and we're actually going to be forcing it into the next deprecation here, which happens on October 10th. So we're talking about in about a week, we're going to have a big system upgrade. This is a soft fork. At least the 51% code, which is the big component of this, is a soft fork. So it's operating on the network right now, which is really nice. And we're seeing significant node adoption of the new software already, which is great to see that a large percentage of the network is now starting to already turn over and upgrade into the new software. So the big thing to mention right away is beware of scams. So whenever you're downloading anything from the internet, you always need to make sure that you're going to the proper website. Please go to our official site. Make sure that you're not downloading any unofficial software that might claim to be our 2.0.15 upgrade, and only go to our site. So the big things here are the Bitcoin consensus enhancement, this whole 51% protection code that we've been talking about for a while now. From 51% attack to today, it's been about 3 months of bringing this to market. So going from architectural design to engineering specifications to coding it to testing it and then to rolling it into new products and binaries, we've done in 3 months. So this was a heroic effort by the team. You guys did an incredible job, and I have to say this just reflects wonderfully on the productivity and professionalization of the team that we have. So this is the famous penalty mechanism we've been talking about. So we'll go into this in the next slide in a little bit more detail, and we have some video content we'll be releasing shortly, doing a whiteboard session with it. But we also have in this update, we have some RPC commands, thread names, messages with Horizen name have been changed over. So just some basic mechanics there on the rebrand, finally integrating that into our software, upgraded the Horizen logo, fixed erroneous log messages on wallet rescans. And now, guys, this is a mandatory upgrade for miners, node operators, and Swing wallet users. So basically anyone who operates a full node right now, you need to be upgrading your software by October 10th. Okay, so next slide here, we have the double spend. So we 51% back in June. It's not the best thing that can happen to a project, guys, but what it did was it kicked us into gear to actually try to solve this problem and not just sit back and hope that we don't get 51% attacked. So we introduced a penalty mechanism to the longest chain rule. So essentially, this was our medium-term solution where if someone who is delaying intentionally their block, if someone's delaying their block submissions to the network, they are actually assessed a penalty for doing so, and the penalties will make the potentially nefarious chain not be accepted as valid truth by honest miners on the network. So this is a really big change that is going to be instrumental to making sure that the network is more secure going forward. So really happy about that. So we had some other options on the table. So the first thing was the increased confirmations, which once this is fully implemented with all of the nodes in the network after the 10th, the increased confirmation cycle for exchanges should no longer be required. So really what the penalty mechanism does is it makes the equivalent of, say we have, just as an example, a 10 block delay on the network, a 10 block confirmation, it would make it equivalent to something much higher, about a 55 block delay, given the same hash rate. So it's a really big thing for us. If we consider some other options, like a notarization scheme, that probably aren't necessary, but are still on the table as options. Okay, so actually, I just described the slide, the next slide, slide 10. But so why don't we get into, Alan, if you're available, we could just get into the node, the secure and super node updates.
Sure. Let's go ahead and get up to that slide. And starting out with the secure nodes, we recently did an update on the downtime connect times, and the timestamp for the tracking start and end times was tightened up. In certain situations, there may have been up to a few minutes difference between when a node connected and when the downtime was processed. So that should be more accurate now. We're still working on the migration, so we're back on deploying or setting up the infrastructure for the secure nodes on a new provider, which should help with scalability and stability on the servers. There will be a bunch of different steps we need to go through for the migration. We're testing out those. There will be notifications sent to node operators when we get closer to the actual move. And at that time, just to lay it out there now, there won't be any effect on earnings during those periods that we do the actual migration or testing or whatever we're doing there. We are also testing some enhanced reconnects on the tracking servers. there were some recent issues with batches of nodes quickly dropping and reconnecting due to network issues. It pointed out some instability in the tracking servers, and in a few instances this caused failovers on one of the servers. Currently, when a server comes back online, all the nodes that have failed over return at once. This was great when there were far fewer nodes, but the node counts are continually increasing. So we're working on a feature to check the failed server and allow it time to come up before sending the nodes home. The new feature will also send nodes home in limited batches instead of all at once. So this will also help with the scalability and capacity of our servers. The target is to deploy the reconnect features later this week after some more testing, and that'll be on the secure tracking servers. It's not really an issue on the super nodes because they have far fewer nodes connected to each server. We're also still working on Node Tracker 0.4.0. There might be some more features to add in based on some of the upcoming items that are in the works for the Node Tracker itself. As for milestones, we have paid out over 100,000 Zen now since December 2017 on the secure nodes. And on the super nodes, we've paid out over 50,000 Zen since July. Those are some pretty significant amounts that have been going out to all the node operators, splitting all the block rewards. And as Rob was talking about, we've got to upgrade to Zen 2.0.15. We have already about 50% of the secure nodes that are already up on that version, and about 62% of the super nodes. And that's about it for now. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you very much, Alan. Actually, let's roll right into the marketing slide. Zen Chicken.
Hi, everyone. Rosario here. Thanks for joining us today. I want to remind everyone that we are sponsoring Crypto the Tour, and they're conducting a fundraising for the Hawk Houston Area Women's Center. 100% of the donations are going to be provided to the Hawk, and this is a great opportunity for you to put your crypto into good use. So donate some Zen today, and we'll continue promoting it on social media. And if you would like to see more details about Tour de Crypto, we have a blog out for you to look at. Next slide, please. So speaking of blogs, if you haven't already read our third quarter accomplishment blog, please do so. It's amazing how much we've done in such a short period of time. As Rob mentioned, we released an enhancement to the Bitcoin protocol, and such a great deal to contribute to the open source community and industry as a whole. We also released a tracker for supernodes, released a new Horizen version, and all the projects that Rob just went through in detail. Our awesome business development team, shout out to Rowan and the rest of the team, they've integrated us into 15 exchanges and partners. Us at marketing, we conducted a stakeholder and competitor research that resulted in our fabulous new brand, Horizen. And we also launched the official Horizen store. So now you could get customized designs created by our own designers to show your Horizen colors and pride. And of course, we can't forget the support team that provided to you, our community, with excellent assistance with our support system. And our community managers were busy going around the world, traveling to 32 different cities, promoting Horizen. And we even had some growth in our team. So we have some trying market conditions, but we haven't formally introduced them to you, but we have Vano Normandis, who joined our BD team as a community manager in Georgia. Also, Jordan Bass, a CPA and law student. He will be bridging our finance and legal teams. And Fenwick and West is a law firm that joined our legal team. They specialize in tech startups, and we're happy to have them to ensure our compliance. So a lot has happened in this third quarter. We're looking forward to the next. And let's see, how did we do with our community growth? Next slide, please. Our social media channels continue growing. However, we've seen slower rates than usual growth for Twitter. And of course, with data, you always have to put context into data. Data without context is meaningless. Back in August, Twitter cleaned up the user accounts, and we lost a significant number of users, and combined that with the reduced crypto interest due to poor market conditions. But on the bright side, we've seen that the engagement has increased though. So even though we've had a slower rate, our engagement has increased, and that tells us that the quality of the posts and the actual community building is good. We've seen an overall growth of about 24% since the third quarter, which is larger than our second quarter of 21%. So that's the overall community growth has been steady despite market conditions. And of course, we'd like to see a larger increase in the upcoming quarter. So that's our goal and our challenge as a team and community for you. We see a substantial increase in referral traffics to our website, so from our social media channels. So website traffic from Twitter increased about 26%, 12% from Facebook, and a whopping 65% from YouTube. By comparing notes with an overall increase in the engagement rates, it's confirmed that we have an improved content performance across the board. So we want excellent content, and we're happy that that's showing on our numbers right now. With the launch of the new brand, we reviewed and reevaluated our outbound marketing effort. We also renewed and improved our content and the way our content is presented. And of course, this is an ongoing effort that needs to be optimized and adapted to market conditions to achieve the best results. And of course, our goal for social media outreach is to effectively communicate with our existing community and attract prospective users. And as we all know, social media channel has acted as our first point of contact and invites our audience to explore a wider spectrum. And we're happy to see that we have increased numbers of people that are interested in learning about Horizen. The most popular content so far, as it should be no surprise, is technical updates and the Horizen store. So this tells us that our users care about the project progress and are interested in technical details, and the hardcore believers that want to show off their swag, their Horizen swag. So this is one of the reasons why we're going to be focusing on more technical content and video from our engineering team. So as we have additional innovations, expect to see additional video content on that. The biggest engagement increase among our social media is YouTube, as I previously mentioned. The engagement is in comments increased by 50% compared to the second quarter. And the 65% website traffic generated from YouTube is also amazing. We also see improved performance on our blog site. The numbers of visit per users, the number of page per users, and the average session duration have all increased in the third quarter, while the bounce rate has decreased. So this tells us that visitors spend more time on our blog site, read more of the content, and we're interested in learning about the project updates. We've also seen a growth in our international community. So website traffic from the Chinese community has grown 80% since the second quarter. That's amazing. Followed by Spanish and German communities, and also the Italian language is doing pretty well. So shout out to Luca, because Italy is a small country and market, but we've seen a 22% increase. So all these assessments help us tailor our messaging and strategy, and our strategy is to be flexible. We test things out, we observe, and change when necessary. Next slide, please. So a bit of sad news, but also happy to have had them on our team. I'd like to thank Callie Elbrick and Laura O'Donnell for their efforts with our marketing. As you all may remember, Callie came on board shortly after launch, and she set up our marketing, established our strategy and messaging, and she's been a critical part of our marketing team. And if you love reading those newsletters, I know you do, because our open rates are higher than the industry standard. Laura carefully crafts those and engages you directly on social media, and she's been wonderful to work with, and we'll miss her. But both will be with us for a few more weeks. We're sad to see them leave, but wish them the best. And that leads us to the next slide. We're hiring. So we have an open position for a copywriter and social media expert. You can find the job posting on angel.co or LinkedIn. And we're looking for a copywriter first who loves Horizen and happens to be a social media expert and is also perceived by others as a top performer. So if you're interested in being part of something big in the most competitive industry, submit your application today. Next slide. The store is performing great. Let's get some pictures out in social media. So please use the hashtag Horizen Style. The designer's collection is slowly trickling out. We have an original design by Marco, Horizen Moon. You'll see that in the next slide, a picture of that. But we hope you love it. We have a fall promotion code, Cozy Zen, to get a 10% discount on all fall items. Next slide, please. So these are some of the fall items, and a special thanks to all the designers for crafting these especially for you. And on the right-hand side is that cool design by Marco. I love it personally, but next slide. It's been a really busy 2 weeks with the team traveling to promote Horizen. Rolf had some great meetups in Budapest and Amsterdam with great participation. He's also hosting a series of educational meetups with Students for Liberty organization, which is a great organization that we are sponsoring and being part of. And Lucy and Levis were in Los Angeles at Blockchain Beach, where we had a booth, and Lucy was one of the panelists. Hoping to see the videos out, and as soon as they are out, we'll share those on social media. And a bunch of us were at Blockchain Live in London, where Rob was speaking about crypto economics. It was great to see our team, Luca, and the UK team, Rowan, Mac, and Nate. We also connected with some of our community members, Nick, P-Stu, and Ultimate Blockage from our community. So thank you for supporting us, helping us out in the booth. And it was a great event to be part of. So it was great to see how many people have heard about the Horizen, about our rebrand, but we also had an opportunity to educate many more people on our rebrand. So this is just part of that brand nurturing process. So we finalized that with having a meetup at CoinScrum, which is one of the largest meetup groups in London. We had over 250 people attend. So it's great chatting about Horizen, our vision, and inviting them into our community. Next slide, please. Later this month, Rob will be in Los Angeles for CanMed, and Rolf will be in Austin in the Texas Bitcoin Conference. If you're in the area, please stop by and say hello. November will also be busy with speaking engagements in London and Oslo. So if you're in the surroundings area, please make your plans, and we look forward to seeing you there. Okay, that is it for marketing. Thank you, and off to regional updates.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rosario. That was an incredible recap of all of the amazing marketing and the team has been doing, especially the quarterly update. But yeah, let's move on to David, and I think that Vano might join us as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Rob. Thanks. And you're right. As Rosario announced, Vano formally joined our team last month, and he has just started right off. And you will see on the slide, he's done already quite a few activities, and we actually couldn't fit everything here, so we're missing out the smaller little updates. So Vano, go right ahead. How about you talk about what you've done so far?
Thanks, David. I must say it's been quite a busy 2 weeks here in Georgia. The World Digital Mining Summit has been a huge 3-day conference with more than 1,000 attendees, where Electrofarm and CryptoLink announced a merger project, which has been very significant for us. They will launch their cloud mining platform very soon, exclusively with Horizen and Bitcoin contracts only. Getting into the early access list is already possible and at their website. I have been present at the summit and network with many companies and people there. And the great news is that community loves our project, and I have met people who mine Zen directly, and there is one of them on our joint picture, Roy from Estonia. He's a great fan of our project, mines Zen almost exclusively in his private farm and operates nodes too. There has also been DevOpsCon Tbilisi conference this weekend where I tried to convert some techie people and made a speech about the interaction of blockchain and DevOps. Plus, I have done an overview of Horizen and talked about our node system and 51% attack prevention technology. And we also had quite a large 100-person meetup here, organized by a local branch of Startup Grind called Getting Serious About Blockchain. I have got a booth there for Horizen and had interesting conversations about our brand with a lot of different kinds of people, those who were new to blockchain and those who were quite experienced. That's it for Georgia, and meanwhile in cold Siberia, Alex is doing outreach to YouTubers and online media about our fixed to 51% attack and the brand itself. Back to you, Rob.
Oh man, you guys sent Alex to Siberia. Well, I guess he probably deserves it, but it's great he's there helping out the project. But yeah, so the next slide, so we've got, actually Arno is not available right now. He is traveling for the project, but Rowan, if you don't mind giving the Central European and Kenya market update.
Not sure we're hearing Rowan. Oh, I see him unmute.
Apologies, guys. I was talking to a muted microphone. So I am very clearly not a very good replacement for our Central European and African team, but I'll try and run through the slide nonetheless. So you probably have noticed through the past few slides that we're kind of pivoting attention to conducting as much grassroots marketing and community creation efforts as we can. And a big part of that is organizing and attending meetups all around the world. So the Central European and African team have 3 on the horizon. In fact, one of them was yesterday, now I think about it. So they had Chemnitz BCMS meetup on the 2nd. They're then going to be at the Institute of Crypto Anarchy's Hacker Congress on the 6th and 7th in Prague. And on the 10th, they'll be at Strasbourg for the La Rentrée blockchain, which simply means the start of blockchain. So yeah, if you're going to be in the area, please do your best to stop by, say hello to the team. And just to echo what Rosario was saying just a little bit earlier on, a big shout out to Jonas as a thank you for attending the Blockchain Live in London, and a shout out to Hugh for his efforts getting the Zen word out in Kampala. So that's it for Central European and Kenya.
Yeah, Hugh, if you're online, do you want to give us a short update on the meetups that you've been doing?
Yeah. Hi, Rob. Hi, Rob.
Oh man, your audio's coming in and out. Why don't we try a little bit more, and then maybe we might have to delay it till a future. But go ahead.
Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
No, it's not going to work. Why don't we set up for a future live stream, and I think I'll hand it back to Rob.
And I'll just pass it right up to Luca for the Italian market update.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Hello, community. Buonasera from Milano. As always, it will be my pleasure to give you a quick update from the Italian market. So, actually, I will start talking about London this time, as it has already happened a few times in the past, because London hosted another very interesting event last week. It was mentioned before by Rosario. So it was the London Blockchain Live event. And for Horizen Italy, it has been a nice opportunity to get in touch with the Italian aficionados we have there, as well as getting in touch with the many Italian crypto enthusiasts that live in the UK. I have to say that during this event in particular, we had the chance to speak with very interesting people, particularly focused around the technology, from all the ages, coming from all the different market verticals, plus universities, plus charity organizations, and so on. So it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming there. Now it's time to follow up, of course, and grow the opportunities. I also hosted a meetup together with a node builder and ambassador in order to help new people setting up an Horizen node and or update their existing nodes. This person is helping us a lot, so many thanks to Zenoshi Kashimoto for your support. Now all the Zen Valley's nodes have been updated to the latest version, so thank you for that support. Finally, it's my pleasure to keep meeting new people in the crypto space. Horizen's brand awareness is growing, which is great. And I would like to end by recommending a wonderful article I read today. It was written by our team member, Dean, and it's an interesting insight. It's called 7 Reasons Why This is the World's Most Exciting Blockchain Project. You can find it following our social media. It was posted today on the Telegram channel, so make sure you have joined it. Make sure you read it. It should be the turn of the Latin American market, so please go ahead. Thank you.
All right, well, hello everyone. So just a few updates for Latin America. We've been quite busy actually spreading the message, the Zen message, and building the Horizen community across the region. We've had several meetups over the last couple of weeks, one in Cúcuta, Colombia, and then one in Caracas, Venezuela. And people are very excited about our project. They want more. So we're also having a meetup this Friday in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And then next week, we'll be back in Venezuela, in the city of Trujillo, to do another meetup there as well. We continue with our social media engagement across all channels. Our country team in Mexico, Angie and Ruben, they did an excellent interview in Spanish on the Papa Bitcoin channel on YouTube, where they describe private transactions and how ZK Snarks works. So that's for our Latin American audience. So when you all get a chance, go ahead and go check it out. It's actually quite informative. Then we're also in discussions with several exchanges across the region to offer fiat gateways. And then finally, we're having more meetups coming up in other cities in Colombia, in Mexico, Venezuela, and Panama. So that's pretty much it from Latin America. Back to you, Rob.
And thank you, Levis. But let's actually pass it off to Lucy for update.
Hey everyone. Hi, it's Lucy here. I'm going to highlight some updates on the Chinese market. The growth we see in our Chinese market has always been steady, but I'm particularly happy to see there's still a good increase when the market condition is rough. As we can see from this table, our website welcomed a big increased number of people from China and other major Chinese language-speaking regions. One thing I'm very happy to highlight is that our Chinese users are highly participated with a deep interest in learning more about Horizen. Our Chinese users have almost 2 times higher than average session duration on our website and consistently have lower than average bounce rate. So this means they spend more time and read more content on our website than most of other users. And we started to see a big and consistent growth on the level of interest from the Chinese market since we translated our website and really focusing on release updates in Chinese. It's exciting to see our hard work has been paid off. And then I'd like to give a special shout out to our Chinese translator, Zhen Han, for a high quality and speedy work. Our online community continues to grow. Also, the size of our community is growing so much that it keeps maxing out the maximum user number allowed on WeChat group. So we now have 3 groups on WeChat, all of which are very, very active. And our community is so involved and passionate. They formed a group of volunteers that help moderate and grow our own online community. And our community members are also building an ecosystem around Horizen. And the goal is to provide Chinese users to have easier access to Horizen with regional and cultural specific user experience. So for example, one of our members built an online store for Horizen swag based in China, and he invested his own money in holding inventory so people in China can receive our swag much more quickly. And he is selling everything at operational cost, so he's not really making any money personally. So he's doing it just to contribute to the greater Horizen ecosystem. And also there's an increased number of third-party services that help our community set up Horizen nodes. They're also very active contributors in our community groups where they help answer all the node-related questions. I'm very excited to see this community-driven ecosystem. And thank you everyone who is taking an active part in providing value and building something that we can all be very proud of. And last week, I gave a presentation in an online meetup that was hosted by DragonX. The event was held on the Chinese Telegram group. DragonX is one of our exchange partners. They have very big user base and very active Telegram community. So it was a great opportunity that we had a dedicated introduction session when I could present Horizen to over 23,000 DragonX users on Telegram. So last but not the least, if you are watching this and you speak Chinese, please join our Chinese community on WeChat and Telegram. That's all from me today. Thank you. And back to you, Rob.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lucy. And that's actually a wrap for the update, guys. So why don't we, Rolf, do you want to pivot over to the Q&A section here and see what questions we have?
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. In fact, one of the questions was a slide that I skipped over earlier. Just sometimes I don't get the slides done exactly right, but it was how many Horizen nodes we have around the world. So I wanted to share this beautiful graphic put together. I look for certainly the bright spots, but I also look for the darker spots where it looks like we need to do work. And some people host nodes at hosting facilities, and some people host nodes, at smaller local facilities. And we really want to have both, with the idea having the distribution of nodes being all over the world so that anybody, wherever they are, their wallet can immediately connect to a node and be able to have the full services of the Horizen ecosystem available to them. So it looks like we might need to do a little bit of work in Latin America and parts of Africa. And then Siberia. So it's probably a good thing that Alex is up there.
Exactly. Yeah. So actually, Rowan, if you're available, there's a question here about why we've never applied for Coinbase listing. I know you had an excellent answer on Telegram, if you can field this one.
Yeah, sure. So we certainly want to list with Coinbase in the future. It's a clear-cut aim. But with Coinbase being a very significant and large exchange, it's really important that we time our application correctly. So if you've been listening through what's been happening in the land of Horizen at the moment, we have moved our 51% protection to mainnet. And that's kind of step one in preparing ourselves for basically becoming a no-brainer for someone like Coinbase to say, yeah, of course we'll list then. The second thing we need to tackle is our liquidity. And we're not really in a position to talk in detail about our plans there, but we do indeed have a plan, and we will be rolling that out reasonably soon. So once we tackle exchange confirmation requirements and get them relaxed back down to a sensible level that will be attractive for a new integration, and once we improve our liquidity, we'll be in a position where we'll very much be looking to try and list with Coinbase.
I think I've been in this industry for too long when I look at and I misspell and it should be hodler. But the other question that he has is, are we advertising in Las Vegas? And if not, why not? So currently we're not. In fact, we're not doing a lot of advertising in general. We're doing a lot of grassroots activities and events, quite frankly, because we're very budget constrained. So as our budget constraints are alleviated, if that happens, we for sure will be looking at different advertising platforms, environments, locations, and so forth. So I think it's an excellent suggestion. Just right now, we don't really have anything going on there.
And if I could add on to that, Rob, and we already see this in different parts of the world where folks that are part of meetup groups or are in different parts of the world want to be able to contribute to Horizen and bring the Zen word to everybody. And a start of that is to have maybe a small meetup group or set up an invitation for someone who's used to speaking to what Horizen does, like you or me, or Vano was obviously doing this. There's people. So we do want to encourage people to go out and carry the word to folks at various meetup groups. And if you want to do this and aren't comfortable with it, I know a few of us are happy to do video, remote meetups, which is not as rewarding as being there in person, but it does get things started. And that's one of the things that I'm doing with the Students for Liberty is working with them to set up cryptocurrency and Horizen meetup sessions at their local universities, and then I would be doing a remote video into it. So that might be another way for people that are in areas like Las Vegas or other folks, other places, to be able to get the word out to people and get all the latest information and have chances to ask questions.
Cool. And now we have a question on, now that 51% mitigation code is completed, it's running on mainnet, when will the confirmations be reduced for exchanges? So this is something really, it's on our exchange partners as to when they're comfortable to reducing confirmations minimums and to what level they want to reduce them. And of course, we will be giving guidance, but for sure, we do not recommend that prior to the deprecation event on the 10th of October. So we're waiting till at least the 10th for a significant majority of the network to upgrade to the new software, and then we'll be making a recommendation to exchanges. So it should be shortly thereafter.
I'm going to scroll back to a question that was in the biweekly update chat channel a little earlier. Can someone explain the use case for Zen when it comes to side chains and how businesses will utilize Zen when building on the platform? I'll start that, but Rob, please add on to anything because you've had the latest update with Alberto. But big picture way that I understand that we're going to do side chains is first we're going to develop the side chain capability. Then we're going to put the two of the most important applications for Horizen on the side chains, which is the Treasury governance voting application, and then the tracking and payment of all the secure and supernodes. And going through that process while in parallel developing the sidechain software development kit will enable us to get to closer to where we need to be with third-party applications on sidechains. At that point, it'll be people that want to have distributed applications that have some of the unique features that we can apply. First off, there's a very large node network to run these applications. The sidechain SDK will have zero-knowledge proof libraries in it. For example, our Treasury implementation is using the Bulletproof library. And then in addition to that, we are going to work to have a payment system where people, the third-party distributed applications that want to run on the side chains will be able to have a payment process that goes all the way to the people that are running the supernodes. And I may have gotten some of that incorrect or left something out. So Rob, if you want to add on to that, please go ahead.
No, I mean, Rolf, that's exactly right. And I think that's a great way to look at it. Really, the first implementations for the sidechains are the most pragmatic ones for us, with the most important parts of the system that we promise the community. And then from there, we actually have some discussions with some potential, ideas going beyond that. But really, the ones that we're focusing on are those that are critical to our roadmap. That's excellent.
Let me give you an example of a sidechain application. So we have the communication, the messaging that we can do on our main chain. But if someone wanted to create a sidechain version of Signal, for example, using the libraries and running on our supernodes. They could do a distributed application version of completely secure messaging running on the sidechains. There's all sorts of other things that people can do with that as well.
Yeah, and speaking of things that can be done, it was asking about VPN node hosting for more income. So as we were talking here about, let me just caveat this. This is a project idea. We actually don't have anything scoped out and funded that we're executing on right now. So we always have to be careful with not getting ahead of ourselves. But there are a whole bunch of potential things that we could do with our node network. And a huge advantage that we have is that we have a massive node network. And for us, building out that node network was not about just locking up Zen supply in a master node type system. It was to actually grow out a massive network to then start doing some things on. So the idea of a decentralized VPN service is just one of these ideas in the bucket of ideas that we're exploring. And I have to say it's one that I'm maybe most excited about. So that's why it's always an example that I like to give of potential things that we can do with this large network.
Excellent. And I was just scrolling back through some of the questions, and I saw one. Now I don't remember. Oh, the DAG, the block DAG. We talked about this earlier, and how IOHK is researching block DAG for us. And IOHK does a great and thorough job of doing research, testing, modeling, scaling model, creating white paper. Once that's complete, then they deliver that to us. Then we work to actually implement the model that they've created into code. Once we do that, then we test the code on internal testnet. Then we work to put it on our primary testnet and ask people to test it. And then when everything, we go through the process of fixing any issues that comes up during the testing process, then we can schedule a time to go live on the mainnet. For block DAG, it changes it from blockchain to block DAG, so I'm not exactly sure what the changeover process would be. So part of the development and testing would be the changeover process. So even though we're looking at having the block DAG research, development, and modeling done soon and delivered in the form of a white paper and probably a Scala test model, the actual implementation onto the Horizen system is going to be a bit longer.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right, Rolf. And you know that test model, a fully functioning prototype, but of course the prototype is not necessarily what we're going to implement in our own code base. So it's really just designed for kind of proof of concept purposes. And then they ran actually a whole bunch of tests on that you'll see in the white paper.
And regarding the software development kit for the sidechains, the sidechains are going to be implemented on ScoreX, which is it's software designed for implementing cryptocurrency chains. And so if people wanted to get a head start on what the sidechain development is going to be similar to, go research about ScoreX. Alberto did tell me that the software development kit is going to abstract some of the difficulties in using ScoreX, but it would give people an idea of the direction that we're heading.
Yeah, and that'll be our reference sidechain model for people. So, but the SDK is going to be realizable. People can design entirely their own blockchains as long as they're compatible with the SDK. So ScoreX will be just the first one. So
excellent.
Yeah, even better. Any other questions, Rolf?
Well, a general question that I'm going to answer in how do people become part of the Zen team? And it's a process. In a lot of cases, we see that people are part of the community on Discord or Telegram, and then they start contributing, whether answering questions, discussing, doing things locally, working to do meetups, and become more and more engaged. And then usually people have a skill set that they've developed over their life, whether it's organizing or speaking or doing graphics artist or doing copywriting or all sorts of other things. And then they want to look to apply that skill set in conjunction with the Horizen project. And it just kind of grows. And at some point, bring that person on board as part of the team.
Rolf, do you want to field the sapling upgrade question?
I didn't see it, but I understand certainly with Zcash, the sapling upgrade is going to happen here in October. It's already been published on the Zcash testnet, and the Zcash folks have done an outstanding job. I continue to be impressed by everything that they do with their development and testing and methodology. The advantage of the sapling upgrade is it changes the way the zero-knowledge proofs are done, which enables other capabilities. The capabilities that it enables that I'm very excited about are being able to have shielded addresses and shielded transactions be the primary method for use on exchanges and hardware wallets, and through the use of connection from a mobile device like an iPhone or an Android phone to a participating node like one of our secure nodes or super nodes, being able to do shielded transactions on mobile devices. So I know that our developers are already looking at the implementation of the sapling and bringing that into Horizen. I'm not sure what the time frame on that is. I know that Vitaly is tracking those specific applications as software development projects. But the plan is definitely to integrate this, and then like we've been doing with the wallets, is to make wallets and systems that are able to take advantage of those new capabilities from the sapling zero-knowledge proofs.
Great. And let's see. So Philippe from YouTube is asking if the flagship wallet will help get stuck Zen off of Ledger. So yeah, I guess a lot of or some people have been staking their node or running their node staking addresses off of Ledger, and a lot of these small transactions have been getting the system stuck. So I think, Rob, we are implementing a 24-word or passphrase system, which would be compatible.
I can jump into that if you like. I was testing it while I was in London.
Yeah,
excellent.
So yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an available feature. So anybody that has Zen currently stuck in inverted commas on a ledger because of too many UTXOs, then yes, you can use the new flagship wallet to regain access to your funds.
Great. And what are we planning to do to take Horizen to general public, make it a household name? I mean, this is something we discuss every day. It's not an easy question. I mean, we have a lot of different strategies that we're kind of executing simultaneously across different divisions. But really, the way that I look at it is, a few really key elements are usability, awesome sound products with nice user interfaces that abstract away complexity and are just simple to use. And then, of course, treating customers and users like they actually matter, which is a really, really critical, important, or absolutely critical part of how we run this organization and try to behave towards the community. So, I mean, beyond that, there's a lot of other ways in terms of grassroots outreach. We have, high-level campaigns in terms of, new user acquisition through targeted industries. We have a lot of grassroots activity you've heard here today across the world in different regions, different countries. Lots of meetups. We've been scaling back on conferences. Actually, those you see that we're going to now were actually planned, 6+ months ago, but we're actually scaling back because of resources and really trying to focus on more grassroots stuff. So yeah, it's I don't know if any of you guys want to jump in there, but it's a never-ending, strategy iteration on our end to constantly think about how we can make better products and just get out there more to users. And really, we want to be a household name in the future.
Yeah, doing that, and then finding specific use cases where people would rather use Horizen than, say, PayPal or Venmo or things like that. I think one of the big use cases is certainly international sending money internationally, especially to places where people have a more difficult time of getting banking relationships, or if they send funds through a service like Western Union or something like that, where they have to pay a lot of fees, they're able to send transactions in a completely private way without paying any fees. So those types of specific use cases where we want to put everything in place, just like Rob said, the wallets, the system, the availability, the help desk, and go for specific use cases identified. That's why we're going to be at CanMed. I mean, that's a use case. The cannabis industry is a large legal industry that has trouble getting banking relationships. And in some parts of the country, buying of cannabis products is legal at one level and illegal at another. So people would prefer to do things probably in a private or anonymous way.
Absolutely. I think that's all we have from the questions here, guys. If you don't see anything else, we can call it a wrap here. We're about 10 minutes over.
Yeah.
But I think it's been a great update.
Yeah. Everybody contributed. And again, another good biweekly update. I'm sure we're going to have all sorts of new information and updates 2 weeks from now. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, thank you so much to Rosario and her incredible job on pulling these slides together and the material. And then make sure, guys, on the community that you're liking everything, retweeting, reposting, anything you can to help to do your part to get our project out to the world. So thank you very much for joining us, guys. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.